The treadmill that didn't stop. In 2018, a man entered a 24-hour gym sometime after midnight. It was quiet, with only a few members scattered around the building. He decided to begin his workout on the treadmill, something millions of people do every day without even thinking twice about it. Like most modern treadmills, the machine had a safety feature, a small emergency stop clip designed to attach to the user's clothing. If the person falls or moves too far back, the clip disconnects and immediately shuts the belt off. However, in this case, the clip was not properly secured. As he increased his pace from a jog to a run, and eventually into a sprint, something caused him to lose balance. Whether it was a misstep, fatigue, or simply a moment of distraction, he fell. The treadmill belt continued moving at high speed because the safety mechanism never engaged. In the few critical moments after the fall, there was no one close enough to immediately understand what was happening. Surveillance footage later showed that several minutes passed before someone noticed something was seriously wrong. By the time staff and emergency responders intervened, it was too late. What makes this story unsettling is not the violence of it, but the normalcy. It began as an ordinary late-night workout in a familiar setting. There was no extreme stunt, no reckless challenge, just one overlooked safety step in a nearly empty gym. It serves as a reminder that even routine exercises require attention and caution, especially when training alone during quiet hours. The treadmill is not dangerous by design, but like all equipment, it demands respect. Small precautions exist for a reason, and ignoring them can turn something routine into something irreversible. The bench press. Without a spotter, one young lifter decided he was ready to attempt a new maximum weight on the bench press. For those unfamiliar, the bench press involves lying flat on a bench and pressing a loaded barbell upward from the chest. When done with heavy weight, it can be completely safe, but only with proper precautions such as having a spotter or setting up safety bars to catch the weight if something goes wrong. On that day, he loaded the bar with more weight than he had ever attempted before. People nearby later said he seemed confident and focused. However, he did not ask anyone to stand behind him as a spotter. He unracked the bar and lowered it under control toward his chest. At first, everything appeared steady, but as he began pushing the bar upward, the weight stalled halfway. His arms began to shake under the strain, and within seconds, the momentum he needed disappeared. Without a spotter to help guide the bar back onto the rack, the weight descended again, pinning him. At first, nearby gym-goers assumed he was pausing deliberately, as lifters sometimes hold the bar for dramatic effect during heavy attempts. But the stillness lasted too long. When someone finally rushed over to assist, critical time had already passed. What makes this tragedy especially difficult to hear about is how preventable it was. The equipment was functioning correctly. The gym was open and staffed. Other people were present. The only missing element was a spotter, someone whose entire role is to prevent exactly that situation. Strength training can be incredibly empowering, but heavy free weights demand respect. Even experienced lifters can miscalculate their limits, and gravity does not negotiate. A moment of overconfidence combined with the absence of backup support can transform a routine training session into a life-altering event. The lesson here is simple but important. Progress should never come at the expense of safety, and no personal record is worth risking your life. The 500-pound squat. In one widely discussed incident within the fitness community, a man prepared to attempt a 500-pound squat. For context, that amount of weight is significant even among experienced athletes. It typically represents years of progressive training and careful conditioning. On that day, he stepped beneath the barbell, positioned it across his shoulders, and lifted it from the rack. Spotters were nearby, prepared to assist if necessary. He stepped back carefully and began lowering himself into the squat position. At the bottom of the movement, everything seemed controlled. But as he drove upward, attempting to stand with the weight, something went wrong. It may have been a breakdown in form, muscular failure, or a split-second loss of balance. Whatever the cause, he collapsed under the load. When dealing with hundreds of pounds, events unfold in an instant. Although the spotters reacted quickly, extreme weight leaves very little margin for error. Heavy compound lifts require absolute precision, and even minor instability can lead to catastrophic outcomes. The gym, which moments earlier had been filled with normal background noise, reportedly fell silent as people rushed to help. Despite the presence of others and proper equipment, the sheer load involved meant that the consequences were immediate. This incident became widely circulated not because it was sensational, but because it illustrated how thin the line can be between achievement and disaster at extreme levels of lifting. Pushing physical limits is part of athletic growth, but there is a difference between disciplined progression and taking on more than the body can safely manage. Strength is built gradually, through consistency and patience. Attempting massive jumps in weight, even for experienced lifters, carries risk that cannot be ignored. The heavier the load, the smaller the room for error.